boys, girls, all my Trumpaholics out there. Welcome back to Other Robert, and no, don't change the YouTube channel. Actually kind of works. Don't change the channel. Rob is not here. I know, unfortunately, he was unable to watch Once Upon a Time this week. Don't worry, it's good things, nothing bad. But regardless, I'm here. We're talking Once Upon a Time. Bitter Draught. And I know in the past, I know some of you have thought of me in terms of Once, because I'm not the biggest fan of Once, right? Especially compared to Rob. Rob's a much bigger fan of the show than I am. But this was, and it's ironic that's the one episode that I'm doing without him. This was the best episode in a long time, in my opinion. This was a return to focus for Once Upon a Time. It really was. We got this untold story of the Count of Monte Cristo, which fits. This type of character fits. It's character, I knew the name, but I didn't really know the story. It's a name that I feel like a lot of people will have heard about, but don't really know, and that's perfect. That's how I was with Rumpelstiltskin before Once Upon a Time. It's a story. I did some research. It's based on a novel or a story from Alexander Dumas, I believe 1800s. Perfect. This is perfect material to include into this Untold Stories gimmick. It really, really worked in theory, right? And then when it comes to the execution, it worked even better. Because they, like I said, returned to form, but still with their current story progression where everything is now, and returning back to form now, it complemented each other. And it worked so well. So let's get into the beginning of the episode. You find out that the Count of Monte Cristo is back, and you find out his story. He starts off as kind of this conflicted kind of villain, or an anti-hero, we'll say. But throughout the episode, he kind of has his own season-long journey, and it really takes place in the flashbacks, and that's why the flashbacks were crucial here. And this is when the flashbacks serve, in my opinion, their best purpose. It's when you get really a condensed kind of version of this character's history, not just one brief incident, but really their history, and especially as it pertained to what's going on with the Evil Queen and all that. It was relevant. But that's when it's the best. So I think the flashbacks this week were not only great for the episode, but they were crucial. They were crucial in establishing who the Count of Monte Cristo is and why he is relevant in terms of all these characters. Why is he here? What is his role? And the flashbacks serve that purpose perfectly. They did not overstay their welcome, utilized all the characters to the best degree that they could, Rumpelstiltskin being in there, and it felt very Season 1-esque because of kind of the relationships going on in that flashback, and it felt current because of the Evil Queen being back, so the flashbacks really serve their purpose. But then when it comes to modern day, we have Emma's therapy sessions with Jiminy Cricket. And they're great, but Bashful likes to talk about current events. So, great. It's good to see Archie back in a role like this, that hopefully we start to see him some more. He serves that role so perfectly, kind of being this guiding light. That I know it's essentially what the character of Jiminy Cricket is, but especially in this show, it really serves a purpose. And it serves a purpose especially when they're in Storybrooke. It seems like they're going to be in Storybrooke for this season, and just kind of this recurring kind of like they're doing now with the therapy sessions, just an outlet for some of these characters, and in this case Emma, to talk and to kind of figure out what's going on in their head without really, I guess, a cheesy kind of way, I want to say. It's good. It's very Sopranos-esque. I know I'm comparing Once Upon a Time to Sopranos, but that's the vibe I got there. But great stuff with that. We see Belle is currently not Rumble. She says they're no longer seeing each other at the moment. Next week will probably be different. And next week we'll probably have about 4 more sleeping curses. But she was in it just a little bit, but it was great. And Hook, he was looking out for Belle, and it made sense. And it was a callback to some earlier stuff he's done that he hasn't forgotten about in terms of Belle, that I feel like the show could have very easily forgotten about, but he didn't. And that not only is important for the character, but important for the show, to show that, yeah, we remember some of these things that happen. Me and Rob on the channel will sometimes criticize, they forget. But this was a perfect example of they did not forget, and they used that to better tell the story. It was great. And then we get to the climax of the episode. I know I'm kind of skipping around here, but the climax of the episode with the dock, where we have the fighting scene. And that was so well done. That was, I think, the best scene on the show since maybe season 4. That, it started out intense and only escalated from there. It started at about a 6, and then made its way to like an 11. It really, really kind of pushing the envelope in terms of the intensity there for Once Upon a Time standards. And even when the fighting was over, it got more intense with the dialogue. The dialogue was more intense than the fighting. And the dialogue between Regina and the Evil Queen was unparalleled in terms of the past couple seasons, what we've seen with the dialogue. And the Evil Queen is a villain to be reckoned with. Some could say that Regina kind of held back, because Regina, although she was a villain in season 1, I guess that's kind of when she had her roots of because she had, she cared for Henry so much, and even though the Evil Queen seems like she does care about Henry because she kind of said, "Hey, son," or whatever. Some could say that she was already kind of on her way in season 1, whereas now no, she's the Evil Queen. That's it, and she seems like a force to be reckoned with, and we saw how everything she did in the episode built to that, and built to the scene with Selena. And we see how much of a manipulator she is. And we've seen this before. But for some reason now, and especially with her being just the Evil Queen, it seems more like a force to be reckoned with. And our characters seem to be in genuine trouble, which is something that this show lacks in terms of that feeling of trouble. And I feel like these characters are in trouble. I'm not saying that everyone's going to get killed off or anything like that, but I'm just saying there's a feeling when watching these characters that they're in trouble, our heroes. And speaking of heroes, the Count of Monte Cristo, although he was being forced to do what he did, they juxtapose that scene with the flashback with him saving Charlotte, and how he, like I said, he had his 1 episode kind of arc, and he went from that kind of anti-hero to a hero, and he went out a hero, and he was a great character. I thought the acting from everyone was fantastic. The Count of Monte Cristo was very charismatic. I liked the actor. I thought he served point great. The character was great in the episode, and really Regina and Evil Queen, like I said, the acting, some of the best we've seen in the show. And I really don't know how they're going to follow this episode, because this was, like I said, one of the strongest episodes in a long time for me. And everyone served their purpose. And like I said, there's going to be this ongoing kind of trouble feeling. And we got that at the end when she's trying to separate everyone and kind of focus on everyone with David, with the coin. And it seemed like a coin. And the Evil Queen. And she's kind of just picking apart everyone here. And with Emma kind of having her own thing going on, which I called last week, I thought was Evil Queen or Regina. I kind of said, I kind of referenced both. I didn't really know. I just said Regina or Evil Queen, whatever. But now that's being mentioned in the show. So, is it too predictable at this point? Is it something that because they're already saying this, is it not going to be her? I don't know. Very, very interesting. We have a lot of questions right now. A lot of interesting questions. Some more of these untold stories. Let's see who else they have. I know next week is going to be Cinderella, which is not an untold story. It's a very much told story. It's a season 1 first half told story. But okay. But fantastic episode. Really, really good stuff. And that's where I'm going to end my rant about this episode. Hopefully it wasn't too unbearable without Rob. Hopefully I served a good purpose. Hopefully it was relevant for anyone still watching. Thank you for watching. And Rob should definitely be back next week, and it'll be the two of us talking as always. But let me know what you guys thought about this week's episode. As always, let's talk about it. Discussion down below. I got the ball rolling. Let's keep the dialogue going. All right, and subscribe because it takes around that much effort to do so. Until next time, you all have been traumatized.